Okay, so a little bit of good news, bad news on the pandemic. Most of it bad because it's the pandemic. In addition to this morning, the first US representative passing away as a result of it, we do have some good news. And that is that the number of new daily coronavirus cases has dropped below 100,000 for the first time this year, according to data from Johns Hopkins. Just under 87,000 cases were recorded in the US on February 7th. The last time we recorded less than 100,000 was November 2nd, before the election. So look, 87,000 cases is still so much, but we've had a lot more than that recently. I mean, I still remember we were at 40,000, but it is starting to go down. Deaths are also down. 1,301 deaths were recorded on Sunday compared to 4,101 on previous Sundays. So those numbers are going down. They're still very high in comparison to sort of the middle months of the pandemic, but that's a little bit of good news, Francesca.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like, it's hard. The bleakest moment for now has passed. The real question is, can we remember that it's still dark in order to prevent another bleak and even bleaker moment? Because like, once again, like, look, the vaccine is rolling out, but these are our uncles, man. I lost my uncle to COVID. These are our families. These are our friends. These are our communities. Okay, these are people who are gonna be. So like, every life is really important right now. So I know it's hard to hold on, but put your stupid mask over your stupid face, and try not to get your droplets everywhere. And limit the time that you're like in stores and restaurants and grocery stores or whatever. Like, I just
totally. Yeah, and I know. So I see some people in the chat are like, "Well, but Sundays are always the lowest days." No, I get that, but that's why we're not comparing Sundays to last Friday. We're comparing Sundays to the previous Sundays. So it is actually trending down. We'll see. I mean, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I did see the crowds, the gigantic maskless Tampa Bay crowds. So that's not good. And
a lot of them were cardboard cutouts. It was an actual false flag Super Bowl. It was a.
Some of the flags were cardboard too. They were false.
The flags were false flags all over. But no, really, they were like cardboard cutouts. The people were still way too close together.
I'm not talking about in the stadium. I'm talking about the parties like out on the streets and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And they were happening in Florida, which is one of the places that one of the cool new mutant strains of the coronavirus is starting to spread. So here is the bad news. The more transmissible COVID-19 variant that originated in the UK is doubling here in the US every 10 days. This new study, which has not yet been peer reviewed, also found the variant to be up to 35 to 45% more transmissible than the COVID-19 strain that was first circulating in the US. And we have a statement from the authors saying, unless decisive and immediate public health action is taken, the increased transmission rate of these lineages and resultant higher effective reproduction number of SARS-CoV-2 will likely have devastating consequences to COVID-19 mortality and morbidity in the US in a few months. Decisive action is not immediately taken. And gathering in gigantic crowds for a fun, sporty event is not the sort of decisive action they're looking for. Now, before we chime in, based on the sample of positive tests sequenced in the study, the variant from the UK was detected in the US multiple times way back in November 2020, with 2 prominent groups detected in Florida and California. Cases in other states, including North Carolina, Georgia, and Texas, led researchers to believe that B.1.1.7 has likely been spreading throughout the country since late 2020. And most importantly of all, studies are still being conducted on how B.1.1.7 may impact the effectiveness of the 2 vaccines currently authorized in the US from Moderna and Pfizer. Another variant from South Africa called B.1.351, recently found in South Carolina, does appear to reduce vaccine efficacy, perhaps significantly. Not only not protecting you necessarily from the worst effects of COVID, but also producing more mild and moderate cases, which the current vaccines for the original strain have been pretty good at limiting that. So a lot of bad news having to do with those mutant strains.
Yeah. The bottom line, when you take a look at the United States' strategy thus far, and even going forward, is that we are not serious about stopping COVID. We're just not. And we won't be so long as we're prioritizing making money over human lives. And so long as we are unable to pass something like a $1.9 trillion stimulus and bailout for the industries and the people who are dying and hurting the most. We in this country are obsessed with what we think is personal freedom. And at this point, that is the freedom to spread a virus and to die because of a virus. But hey, you were able to go to a Super Bowl party and man, go out like that, I guess. That's not the country I want to live in. I mean, honestly, you look at many other countries that have actually successfully, with far fewer resources than the United States has, that have successfully been able to contain the virus. And it has to do with a lot of like government oversight. It has to do with actually having a government that works. Part of that is limiting travel. We have 50 states, we have huge amounts of internal travel. I know people who have been traveling during this time. I'm not saying that they shouldn't travel, but hey, would it prevent the spread of these mutant viruses? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
Especially internationally.
Internationally, for sure, but even internally, if it meant that if we could contain the mutant strains to Florida and California, maybe that would be good. Maybe that would be good. But if we throw up our hands and say, no, well, you can't stop travel because that's our freedom. I don't know. Like, what are you gonna go stay indoors in the next state over? Like, I really want us to really consider like how unserious we are about stopping this virus, and yet how all of the answers are literally in our faces. They've been in our faces since the beginning of this.
Yeah, some of them have supposed to have been on our faces and we have rejected it.
Yes.
There was a politician, I forget the name, who was wearing a mask that said something like, I'm only wearing this because I have to or something. And it was a black mask with white text. And that mask was clearly in the photo over one of the KN95 masks. So like they were like, I'm only wearing this because I have to. But secretly I also have the medical one under it because I don't want to get COVID, but I also really want to grift. So that's cool. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.